I've been doing it, believe it or not. I may not look my age, but I've been fly fishing 57 years. And I've taken virtually every species of fish in Manitoba, which numbers 32 different species on the fly. Wow. My buddy Jeff Currier has 268 species on the fly, and he goes all over the world. So if we have a bit of time, I'll show you a video that we did from one of the shows that we taped, him catching his first channel cat fly. Right? So with that being said, fly fishing Manitoba style. And I thought I'd do this instead of presenting just trout or anything else, but there are some trout pictures. Better known, welcome to Stu's Fly Fishing World. You guys have not, you only have 18 species of fish in this province. That's it. 32 in Manitoba, plus that doesn't count some of the fish you're going to see tonight. Okay. So we'll start off. There you go. That's how many different species there are. In fact, there's over 30, no problem whatsoever. So we'll start with some brook trout. How many guys here caught brook trout? How many guys here have caught brook trout 20 inches? How many guys here have caught brook trout up to 29 inches? Yeah, we got a couple lakes in Manitoba that would just astound you with the size of brook trout. That's I know that's 16, 17 incher. That's out of one of the lakes that I fish all the time up in the Duck Mountains. Duck Mountains is just a little bit further north in the Parklands area. And there are some lakes in the Ducks that have brook trout that are just massive. That's, once again, a littler guy. Hard to believe he took an orange zonker, but he did. It's kind of cool. And you get some half decent sized ones. That one was, I believe, 21 inches. That gentleman there is Randy Bossett. He's a friend of mine. Very good fly fisherman. These lakes in Manitoba, like Phil Rowley talks about it when he's on the new fly fishing. In fact, I just watched a YouTube video that he did on Patterson and Twin. I can tell you those lakes, Patterson could be better, but still you get some big trout out of it. That one's a bit better. This one was 21 inches. Gorgeous fish, and that's out of one of my lakes up in the Ducks. But that, who wouldn't want to catch that? Isn't that awesome?
Looks like he caught you.
Oh man, I'll tell you, that was a good fish. I could put you exactly on the right spot on West Blue Lake to catch fish like that. And the brookies in there, a guy sent me a video that he took when there was first ice. And you should have seen the size of brookies in this lake. Man, your hats would fly off your head. I'm not kidding you. I'm talking 28 to 30 inch brookies and even bigger. And they're in this lake. Nobody has really caught any of the big ones because a lot of guys out there that fish there have no idea what they're doing. Right? So the best brook trout that I've taken out of there is 21. The best brook trout that I heard of was caught by a friend of mine was 27 3/4. The biggest brook trout was caught up at Footprint Lake, which is north of the Ducks, at 31.5 inches. So we have some massive brook trout in the province. Browns. 20 plus browns, raise your hand. 25 plus browns, raise your hand. 28. I knew it, right? But we do have some fantastic browns. This brown here was caught during the fly fishing championships, first ones that were held here. That's Chris Fall, who's holding that fish. when we were in the boat together, I asked him, what's the biggest brown you ever caught? He goes, 16 inches. Man, I killed myself laughing. And he says, that's a big brown. I said, no, it's not. He said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I don't care about the rules in this competition. When I tell you to cast, you cast. Right? Competition, you have half the boat. I had the front half. He was in the back. He said, when I tell you to cast, you cast. I don't care where it is, you cast. Right? So we're fishing this one shoreline, this whole pile of willow branches moving back and forth like this. I said, see where those willow branches move? Cast your fly, but it's over. I said, shut up and cast your fly, you idiot. He did. That's what he caught, 25-inch brown. And he would never have caught it if I wasn't paying attention. And I didn't feel sorry for him because he never caught a brown bigger than 16 inches. Super nice guy. And I'm not a competition fisherman. I enter the competition, but I will tell anybody and everybody what I'm doing. And I will tell them what I told Chris. I don't care if you cast over. Right? If you see something, catch it. I don't care. Right? I've caught lots of big fish. This one was during the Bug Chucker Cup. The guy that took the picture was from Alberta. Him and his partner were fishing. And actually on East Goose Lake, that's where this was. That's 25.5-inch brown. I was in the back corner, shallow water, caught this on one of my DDH leeches, kicked over to them, kept the fish in the net, kicked over to him. Can you take a picture for it? While we were fishing the Bug Chucker Cup. What if I give you the fly that I caught this fish on? The guy said, okay. So he took a couple pictures for me. I gave him the fly. I said, you have to go into the back corner in the shallow water and you'll catch browns like crazy like this. He didn't listen to me. So on the day, like I caught quite a few fish that day in that same corner, and they went fishless. Not one fish. They were fishing chironomids in deep water and the fish were not there. They were all up in the shallows. But that's some of the fish I can catch in the parkland area. Okay. That one there is up in the ducks. That was 26.5. And that was on Perch Lake in the ducks. That is good. If you ever fish lakes and you want a real challenge, Perch Lake is a small lake. You can kick around it in about half an hour. Over 70 feet deep. It's a crater lake. That is, in my opinion, the hardest lake to fish in Manitoba trout. I've seen some really big trout in there and brown's going over 30 inches. And it's just like, please hit my fly. So the best I've landed is 26.5, which you see right there. But man, I'll tell you something. When the fish are on in that lake, it's nothing like catching 30 or 40 fish over 20 inches in a day. I'm not BSing them, so I've done it, right? It's awesome. It's great fishing in there. This one that my son caught, this is Anton's Lake, which is at the junction of Highway 16 and Highway 10 in Manitoba, which is just past the Saskatchewan border. There's 20 to 29-inch trout in this little lake. It's a rest area. You have a really nice washroom that you can use. You have picnic tables for lunches, right? It's a nice little lake. Once again, you can kick around this lake in about 20 minutes, half an hour. Right? Massive trout in there. Do you know how many times I get the most number of people that have fished that lake in one day? 7. Nobody else fishes. You may see 3 or 4 other people out there during the course of the week. In the weekend, you may see 7 to 10, but nobody fishes. Why? Because it's by a rest area. Nobody wants to fish a lake by a rest area. It's a great lake. Out of Perch, 29 3/4 inches. Caught on one of my flies.
That's a fall fish.
Ah. Brooke, her husband Darcy, they were out there. They were from Saskatchewan. Darcy didn't have his fly rod with him. because they were just trolling. So I said, hey, give you a couple of my leechers, troll them about 100 feet behind the boat, and you'll catch fish. And I left. They emailed me this picture. He said, 5 minutes after you left, this is what we're caught. I was speechless. I fished that lake. This is like 6 o'clock in the evening. I fished that lake the whole day. Mid-October, yeah, that's what you can catch out of that lake. It's a beautiful ground. So we also have rainbows. That one was a 25-incher. Once again, that was up in the ducks. Now, I prefer fishing the ducks as opposed to the parkland. When the parkland was really hot, I'm not kidding. In Patterson, the parking lot would be full. Not one Manitoba. North Dakota, South Dakota, Michigan, Iowa, Montana, Washington, right? You would see all these from the States. And these guys are coming up here to fish at Parkland Lakes. And there's massive trout. Well, at that time, there were massive trout in Parkland Lakes. That's out of East Goose. That wasn't a bad little critter. That was about 22 inches. I caught that one. There you go. Whoa. Can you say Patterson? That's Nick LaFerrier, a buddy of mine. He's a super nice guy. How many guys here have seen the trout bum stuff? The hoodies with a fish skeleton on the front? Yeah. That's the artist. He's a buddy of mine. He designed all that stuff for me. Oh, there's another pig out of Patterson once again. Right. And if just, I wish it was back to its glory like this, because this is when all the guys from the States come up. If you could hit the middle of the week, you wouldn't see that many bucks on the weekend. Like, man, and these guys from the States would book hotel rooms and camp for 1 to 2 weeks. And that's all they do. Fish Patterson and go across and fish to Carrick. And that's rainbow out of Carrick. Friggin' phenomenal lakes. Now Patterson, pardon me?
What was the name of that lake?
To Carrick. Right? Patterson Lake now has like 16,000 pounds of suckers in it. Right? Competition for the trout, which is really unfortunate because now the trout aren't getting as big as fast. Right? We still have some big trout in there, which is not bad, but they aren't as big, getting as big as fast, I should say. Carrick has perch and pike in it now. So when they stock it, they're just they're feeding the fish. That's all they're doing, right? So there's the odd big rainbow left into Carrick, but if they ever get back to where they were, and they're discussing that right now, like, man, those 2 lakes are the top 2 lakes in Manitoba for big trout. And it takes about 3 years before they're 6 or 7 pounds. Because the average growth rate is 2.5 pounds per year in these lakes, which is pretty stinking good. So I know you guys have the tiger trout lake. That one there was caught by my son. A tad over 27 inches. Beautiful fish. That's Darcy, Brooke's husband. That's a 25-inch. Now what's I don't know if I'm lucky or if I'm good. I think I'm more lucky than anything. But this day, there were 7 other people fishing Twin Lake. And between the 7 people, there were only 6 fish caught. I caught 11 that day. Figured out what fish are doing. Okay. My best was 25, my smallest was only 22. But that was a great day. I fished the next day, I got 2 fish. 25.5 and 27, which was awesome. So there's times when you can figure out the lake really fast, and other times I did the same thing as the previous day. I'm going, oh man, I'm doing this all wrong. Because after the morning, I didn't have the fish on. Changed flies, went back into shallow water in the afternoon, hit those 2 fish. I missed about 5 or 6 others, but they were back in the shallow water, in the weed beds. So it just depends on what you do and what you want to do when you're on a trout lake. And you really have to understand what you're fishing. Okay? My mind was closed on Sunday morning. It opened Sunday afternoon. Okay? I was still sleeping Sunday morning when I was in the float tank. But yeah, once I figured out what they were doing, once again, there's only one other fish caught on Sunday. And I was caught by a buddy of mine that I gave the fly to, that I was catching these 2 fish on, and he caught me. But as you can see, the tagger's in that lake. I know exactly where he's sitting, where he caught that fish. And I can point it out to you on the map, no problem whatsoever. I know that lake really, really well, and there's certain spots that I'll fish, and I'm doing fish like that all the time. This one is only 23. That was caught by my son as well, but look at the colors. It's a beautiful fish. And that day I caught a 26.5. I would have traded that for that one any day of the week, because that's 26.5. The colors completely different. And that's on the smaller side of the lake. So if you ever fish twin, in the springtime, I fish the small side of the lake as opposed to the big side. And that's what I catch. Okay, Lakers. I know Gary has caught a few Lakers. Anybody else catch Lakers on the fly? Yeah, they're a lot of fun. There you go. That's not a bad size for the fly rod. I was caught on one of my pike flies. In fact, most of these Lakers have been caught on one of my pike flies. Now, the reason these Lakers caught on my pike flies, Nick is an artist. He had a brook trout print that I really wanted. Had 5 dozen pike flies in my box. Said, Nick, I'll make you an offer. 5 dozen pike flies for one of your prints. It was done. Which print do you want? So he signed the back of it for me. It's hanging up in my fly tying room downstairs. Really awesome. These are the fish he caught on a Zack attack, which was pink with a purple at the thread. If you look at my bucket, you'll see the Zack attack, and they're easy flies to tie. So, can you believe that on a fly? And if you think that's good, that on a fly?
How are you getting down to them?
Springtime,
Shallow water. Less than 12 feet deep.
springtime.
2 days after ice out or in November?
No, most of the fish were caught up north, right? This one was caught just on east side of Ontario border. But once again, it was towards tail end of the season, right? If you have the Lakers dialed in, you can get some pretty big Lakers. That was caught on one of my flies. 10 feet of water.
Did they close the season for spawning up there?
Yes, they do. In Manitoba, they do. Ontario, I have to double check in Ontario. There is a closed season. Gary has the book, so I gave him the Ontario regulations. He's interested in doing another fish I go see. But can you imagine that on a fly rod? On a fly that you tied? Right? I wish I would have been there to catch that. So, char. Now, my buddy, this is what we catch in the Duck Mountains. Glad Lake is the only lake I know of that has char. This is a really big char out of that lake. It's only like 21 inches. They are so hard to catch in that lake, you wouldn't believe. So my buddy was lucky he got that one. But this is Steve Erickson. He guides up on the Tree River. And he does char like this the whole time. Right? And if I could zoom in on this, you'd be able to see DDH minnow, which is white, red, and black, in the mouth of that fish. So that's what he used to catch it. And once you see the size of that fly, because I'll be tying it, I'll be doing a leech pattern tonight, and that's that leech pattern. Right? You'll see how big it is. And you'll go, oh man. But as you can see, Steve does a really good job. He's a guide up there. But he does have some free time to fish for himself, and he catches char like you wouldn't believe. And fish all that size. I have not seen him catch a small
He's on the top room.
tree. Yeah. Josh knows him. So I would love to catch a fish like that. My best char is only, like I said, 21 inches. So, splake. What's a splake? Cross between a brook trout and a lake trout. Pretty cool looking fish. Looks like a brookie, doesn't it? Nope. Take a look at the tail. Fork in the tail. Brook trout do not have a fork in the tail. So that is a splake. The other thing you'll notice is there's no red dots with blue halos on the side. Two dead giveaways that that's a splake already, right? So the splake do get big. Like there's one guy, a buddy of mine, 32 incher. That's a massive fish for a trout. But as you can see, spawning colors are the same as a brookie. But fork in the tail, no blue halos. That's a splake. And that's the quickest way you can identify a splake if you ever tie into one. Now this is on Laurie Lake in the Ducks. 2 Mile Lake in the Ducks has splake in it too. Not as big as these, but they do have splake in it. So there's splake right throughout the whole province in different lakes. And they are a challenge as well. So all these fish are like 4 or 5 pounds. These are 2 buddies of mine that fish Laurie Lake quite a bit. It's a bigger lake. Better if you have a boat on this lake instead of a float tube. But I love fishing out of my float tube. I'll never quit using it. I'll use it all the time. Especially in 3-foot waves. Yeah, great. But you can see, once again, the fork in the tail, no halos, no blue spots, no red spots. You see the vermiculations on the back. That's splake. Now, at one time when I lived here, this back in 78, 79, I think it was Smoky Lake that was stocked with smallmouth, wasn't it? Yeah.
Island Lake. Island
Yeah.
Lake. Or the upper Smoky Island.
Yeah. So I never caught a smallmouth of it. I went there 3 or 4 times, not one smallmouth. Couldn't figure them out.
One came
But-
out from the boat.
What's that?
The one that came out from the boat.
Oh,
They used to be in the beaver woods.
yeah. But come to Manitoba, I could show you where you can catch bass like that. That one's only 19. Which is not bad.
So what watershed is that?
That would be on the east side of the province, so it's part of that Winnipeg River system. Right, because the Winnipeg River flows through from Ontario through eastern Manitoba into Lake Winnipeg. I can show you spots in the Winnipeg River where you can get bass like that just for whatever cast. I can take you to lakes where a good day is, my best day on this lake is 16 hits from 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. All the bass were between 18 and 22.5 inches. Did you fish for a full day to get 8 fish that size? Yeah, definitely. 22.5 inch smallmouth is like 7, 8 pounds. They're a fun fish to fish for. That's my son with a 22 incher. That's on the Winnipeg River. Right. So you can see the size of these fish. That's a smaller one. That one there would be about 16, 17 inches. But when you get them on top and use poppers, there is nothing that is as much fun as fishing smallmouth on top water, except muskie and pike. Muskie and pike give you a heart attack, smallmouth make your heart beat faster, and you just get super excited because you know there's another one right beside the one you caught. Okay. Anybody know who that is?
Clouser.
Yes, sir. We took Bob out on the east side of the province, nailing fish like that all day long. Now, why do I have a picture of two bass in one net?
He flies on that knee.
Yeah, tandem flies, man.
He flies.
What happens when, if you use a single fly or a single lure and you see a bass and he takes it? What's often behind the other bass? More bass. So why not catch two at once? It's a riot, especially if they're big, because they could break you off. Right? So I'll fish tandem flies. Always, without fail, when I have the one that hit the fly beside the boat, I always catch another one beside it. And it's such a riot because these bass, when you see them come up, you won't see one. You'll see about 5 or 6 go for that second fly. And it's just a race. So sometimes you get 2 big ones, sometimes you get a small one and a big one, sometimes you get 2 small ones. But it's a panic. So much fun. Largemouth bass. Now, you see shows down in the States and all that, but you do get some half decent largemouth in Manitoba. But you have to know where to go. Right? That one was about 16 inches. Wasn't too bad. Here's a nicer one. Big pot belly on it. Now in this body of water, these are called Reynolds Ponds. They're 45 minutes east of Winnipeg. Old gravel pits. The one that this came out of is 80-some feet deep. Now, somebody dumped a whole pile of largemouth in there from the Lafarge pits just down the road a ways. So now they are repopulating these ponds by themselves, because you can get small largemouth that are only like 5 or 6 inches, and you can get critters like this. But it's such fun fishing. Once again, poppers, leech presentations, anything you want to use, they'll hit. And that's a picture of the previous one being released. Nice fish. And then you could get pigs like that. Don't let the size fool you, because man, they are pigs and they put up a good fight. And that was Mary Jane Reservoir that was caught. There's still some big largemouth in there. Rock bass. Anybody know what a rock bass is? Yeah. There you go. Little guy. A gigantic rock bass is 14 inches. A really good rock bass is 10 or 11 inches. Right? So these are smaller fish. So 3 weights would be ideal to fish with these guys, and they will hit little poppers. That one there is about 12 inches. Of course, that was caught by my son, not by me. There's times when I don't like my son. At these times, we have this bet. It started when he was about 5 or 6. When we started, it was a nickel for the first, a nickel for the most, and a nickel for the biggest. It is now up to $5 for the first, $5 for the most, and $5 for the biggest. I just give him $15, say, don't brag on me for the weekend, leave me alone. And he's going to be 36 in April. So that's what, 30 years now? I've won once. That's it. That's why I just give him $15, but boy, does he catch fish. Anyway, these are great little fish. They will eat any small nymph or any small popper. And for their size, they put up a half decent fight. So going with the 3 or 4 weight for these guys, That'd be awesome. White bass. There you go. Another, not an implant, but they come up through the Red River from the States, made their way to Lake Winnipeg. So we have a ton of them in the province. And once again, poppers, top water flies, dry flies, you can have a riot with these fish. And there's days, and I'm not kidding you, there's days where you can do 150 to 200 of these fish if you're on the right body of water. And fishing is unbelievable. Right?
This all so called and drum,
No,
that's different, yeah.
one of the names for a drum is silver bass,
So that's what.
and you'll see they look a little bit different. Right, but the white bass, a really big white bass is 18, 19 inches. That's massive. Most of the white bass you're going to catch 11 to 13. We'll get some 16, 17, some 18. But they take a fly so readily, it's unbelievable. And as you can see, like these are 16, 17 inch fish. And like I said, they're just a riot on the fly rod. And you can, like, unfortunately, this is on the red, so a 9 or 10 week system, you don't put that much of a bend in it. But you don't fish the red with anything less than, and you'll see why in a couple of minutes. But that fly that he took is, that's in my book, easy to tie. Like my fly pattern is so easy to tie, it's amazing. Perch, everybody knows what a perch is. Catch them on a fly rod, that's a challenge. Okay. My buddy Stephen J. We were out bass fishing, he caught that perch. And you can get some big ones. That one there, I think, was about 12 inches overall. Sauger. Now, a lot of people here have heard about sauger and all that. Smaller cousin to the walleye. And like, that's a half decent sauger. So once again, you get a lot of them on the red. You get a few on the Winnipeg River system. But if you're just fishing for sauger, you can do that with a 4 to 6 weight. But when you're fishing the red and you tie into a 30, 40 inch cat, you're going to have a long fight. That one is a little bit bigger than average. Now, the difference between a sauger and a walleye, there's no white tip on the tail, is it? You lift up the dorsal fin, there's black spots on the dorsal fin. 2 dead giveaways, that's a sauger. But if you get a saugeye, which is a cross between a sauger and a walleye, you'll have black dots on the dorsal fin and you will have a white tip on the tail. And a lot of people, because they just look at the white tip, call it a walleye. It's not, it's a cross. And they do tend to get to be about 21, 22 inches. And you can see how well that fish camouflages along the rocky bottom. In fact, I had to stand over it to take the picture so I could get it in the picture. And they take flies, no problem whatsoever. Now, of course, walleye, everybody here knows what a walleye is. Big walleye here. And you get a big one, it's 26, 27 inches. You may get the odd 30. Right now in Lake Winnipeg, guys are doing 33, 34 inches. That's 16, 17 pounds. During the summer, you can get them on flies, no problem whatsoever. Now, the cool thing about this, everybody knows what a hexagenia hatch is, right? Mayfly hatch. Do you have a big mayfly hatch here in the province? Yeah. Manitoba, when they hatch, on average, 4.2 metric tons hatch per year. That's a lot of mayflies. Every fish in the province will feed on. You can get walleye on mayfly nymphs and dry flies, no problem whatsoever. This is a buddy of mine. And this is out in Ontario. We don't have bad walleye out in Ontario, but we do have some really nice walleye here. This is up on the Fairford River. This is actually in March. So we use small streamers and they actually go after Cisco, and you'll see what those look like in a minute or two. But there's Stephen J. That one was 29 inches. And that's a pig of a fish. And that was caught on the red. Where you do a lot of fly fishing, because you never know what you're going to catch. Pike. Everybody here knows pike. This is a typical summer pike for me. Not that huge, not that small, somewhere in between. Once again, this was on the red. It was a great year for pike that size on the red. That was caught by a buddy of mine. Once again on the red. We had a banner year for pike fishing there. Then you can get the real big ones. Wouldn't you like to catch that? I would like to catch that too. That was caught on my fly. This is Aaron Weeb of Uncut Angling. I taught him how to tie flies and how to fly fish. And he shows me this picture, and I'm just, like I'm choked. Like, don't show me that picture. So I look at it every once in a while, because my biggest pike is only 44. This hit 50. Massive fish. Then we do have a musky lake in Manitoba. Brand new. You may find the odd muskie this big, because believe it or not, we just found out about this lake last spring. They've been stocking it for 3 years. It's musky in there, over 40 inches. And it's just north of Twin Lake. So it's in the Parklands area. So there are some nice muskie in there right now. Most of them will be something like that. But still, catching a muskie on a fly is right, especially topwater stuff. Now there's a pattern in my book called Mike's Goldfish. That fly in the last 4 years has accounted for over 100 muskie. It's only 5 inches long. 5 inches long. That's not even as wide as this. Go from my thumb to about there. On a fly that size. So you see all these guys tying these 14 to 20 inch big tandem streamers. Do you need them? No. You can get away with flies that are 5 inches. Like my longest one is approximately 7 inches. And like if I have time, I'll show it to you tonight. It's called Winter Storm, great little fly. And I'll do that in different colors. And I catch muskie on it as well. Same as the Weedman slider. Best pike is 49 inches on that fly. And the best muskie is sitting at 47. I wish I would have caught 47, but I didn't. A buddy of mine did. But catching muskie, you'll see a few of that size in the lake. And you really have to have these fish dialed in. You really have to know what you're doing, because you have to know the locations, where they're holding, where they're sitting, because they're solitary fish. So you have to cover them, just a pile of water, in order to catch one in a day. If you're lucky, like Mike Corrigan and Gerald here and a couple other guys that go to Ontario with fly fish muskie. On a slow day, they're catching 2 or 3. On a good day, they're doing 10 to 11. Okay. And everybody's looking at it 10 to 11 in a day. Yeah. If you know what you do. So it takes a bit of investigating. That's Mike Corrigan. And you can see the teeth marks. Oh, oh. So something bigger tried to eat him. There you go. That one's sitting at about 42. And I know exactly where he is. Canyon Lake in Ontario. And that's about 2.5 hours past the border, Manitoba, Ontario border, going east. But you got Blue Lake for a campground, beautiful campground. You can get to that lake. It's about a 15-minute drive. That's it. From Blue Lake, and you can get muskie like that. Lake whitefish. Yep, catch those too. A pile of fun on fly rod. I don't know if you tried Wabaman Lake for whitefish. They're a challenge.
Have you caught them on a dry?
Yes. I've taken them on small streamers. I've taken them on dries, nymphs, you name it. Okay? They're very opportunistic in what they eat. One of the best stories, when I lived here, I'd fish the outlet, the hot water discharge. So I'm fishing there one day. A school of 5 to 6 pound whitefish jumped clear of the water, and right behind them there's this massive boil. Scared the crap out of me. I ran out of the water. And then when I got to the shore, I thought, Stu, you stupid idiot. What the heck are you doing? That was a massive pike that was chasing those whitefish. So I stood there for the next 5 hours casting. And of course, when a big pike comes up and does that, after that, he's gone. If he doesn't get anything, he's gone. Okay. So I spent 5 hours casting there because I was so impressed with that pike coming up, chase those whitefish like that. It scared the jeebers out of me. So this is typically the size that we catch. And we got tons and tons of lake whitefish in different lakes in the province. You can go anywhere. Now this young chap, I worked with him at Cabela's, and he took to fly fishing like a duck to water. And that's his first white fishing fly. This kid is having a ride. His first trout, 28.5 inches. Killed me. I was choked. That was a rainbow. Crappie. Once again, a great little panfish I used 3 or 4 weeks for. And the big one in this is 16, 17 inches. A good one is 10 to 12. Right? So these are not the biggest fish in the world, but they will take flies like you wouldn't believe. And they're a ton of fun on the fly rod. Once you find, yeah.
Is it just white crappie down there? You have black?
We have both, right? These are white, as you can tell by the color pattern on it. That's a black. See the difference? See, so if you look at the color pattern on this one, see how light it is on the back? You have that green coloration, right? And that one, it's all black. So that's black crappie, the other one is a white. But I have them lumped under one heading because there's a lot of people that don't know this. The crappie is a tough. Bluegill. You hear about bluegill all the time when you read stuff from the States, right? They are so much fun. See the size of popper that thing hit? It's a riot. These little guys are so aggressive. Once again, Reynolds Ponds has a whole pile of bluegill in it. So if you want to do different species, you can head up to that place and catch them. The LaSalle River, which runs just outside of Winnipeg, if you go to the town of LaSalle, they have a dam there. You get 9 or 10 inch bluegill out of it. Those are massive, massive bluegills. My buddy Nick, that's on the LaSalle. That's a 10-inch fish. And you can see it's, for a bluegill, that is really huge. My buddy Randy, that one is about 7 inches. Not too bad. Once again, it hit that big popper. He had a riot with that, with the big popper. Now, anybody ever interested in fly fishing the Red River? You gotta come out and do it, man. Like, you have to. You want some fun? You want to work out? Come and fly fish the Red with me. I will put you into so many fish you wouldn't believe it. You can have a 200-300 fish day. If you listen to what I tell you. If you don't listen, I slap your hands. Okay? I'm very curt when I take people out. If you don't do what I tell you to do, then I'll let you know, right? And I'm just like that. I want you to catch fish, so you have to listen to me. How'd you like to do something like that on 34.5 inches? That's a massive fish. In fact, he had trouble holding it up. And that was on a 10 DDH minnow. These carp are massive. That's a small one. That's a small fish. But if you look at the fly, it's a closer minnow. White, orange, and black. Carp don't hit streamers. Wrong answer. I catch them on anything and everything. Right, so I take them on closers, I take them on my leech pattern, I take them on dry flies, I take them on nymphs, I take them on all fly called the headmaster, which is very close to my DDH leech. Right? They will hit anything. They don't care. Oh, there's another big one. This guy landed 8 fish that day that size. And that's just carp. That doesn't include all the channel cats he landed. He landed about 26 or 27 channel cats. That one was 35. I'm using my knee to hold it up. That would have been about this thick. So you're looking at a 35, 40 pound fish. And that's what you can expect from the red. Pullback. Now this is a fish very few people know about. This is the most challenging fish that you could ever fly fish for. And that's what it looks like. You say, what the heck is that? Well, it's a member of the sucker family, but we call it a pullback carp. Why they call it a pullback carp, I have no idea. So I just call it a pullback. My son caught that. I've been trying for years to catch one. And man, I'll tell you, that was just like, oh, and he caught that. Like, don't talk to me. I want to disown you. You're a threat to my reputation. He is my reputation. But you can see they do get to a nice size. So he caught this one, believe it or not, on a size 18 mayfly nymph. I've tried bigger flies for him, and I have caught some since he caught this one. Small mayfly nymphs, chironomids, they will take, but nothing bigger than a 14. So you're fishing small flies. And don't be surprised if you're using a size 14 mayfly nymph that you hook into a 36 to 40 inch channel cat, because they will hit. This girl is Kelsey Bell. I used to work with her, but she got into fly fishing, and that is a massive pullback. And that's right at Lockwood. So the number of species you can catch on the red, it's just amazing. There's another fish not that many people know about that will take flies. Big mouth buffalo. Looks like a carp. It doesn't have the carp mouth on it. Doesn't have the barbels along one on each side. So you know that's a big mouth buffalo. They don't even list it in game fish species in Manitoba. But as you can see, have decent sizes. That's a nice one. That's Steve Erickson. That night was, he caught about 3 or 4 like this that night. So I stood beside him and I was watching what he was doing. I said, what fly are you using? DDH leech. Killed me. You use my fly, you catch these fish. Great. Thanks, bud. Here's your freshwater drum. Now remember what the white bass looked like. Here's your freshwater drum. Looks a little bit different. Right? Now you can get some average. This is an average drum. You can get some big ones. There's one on the bottom, one on the top are average. One in the middle, I was sitting at about 26 inches, I believe. And that was a nice drum. But they do get bigger. That one's over 30. And I was caught up at the Fairford River. And that's the only place I know of in Manitoba that you can get 30-inch plus freshwater drum. Or sheep's head, or silver bass, or whatever you want to call them. They're drum. Right? When they're on, you can do, in a day of fishing on the red, when they're on, you can do 300 to 400 fish in a day. All drum. With the odd cat thrown in, the odd carp thrown in. But you can do that, no problem whatsoever. Goldeye and mooneye. There's a goldeye. Now, I will say this. You guys got Manitoba beat for the size of goldeye. Unbelievable. 17, 18 inches out here. 13, 14 back home. Right? You guys have one of the best goldeye fisheries in Canada on the North Saskatchewan. And if you're smart, I'm going to tell you the spot. Go to White Mud Creek, but you don't fish at the mouth where everybody else fishes. You walk upstream, you'll come to a ripple in the pool. I took 18.5-inch goldeye out of that pool. Every year I was here. I took walleye out of that pool. Nobody will find you there. You have the whole spot to yourself. Nobody's going to be there. Nobody's going to bug you because nobody wants to leave the mouth of the river where all the fish are. Wrong. We got fish up at that pool. And it's a little riffle. You have to look for it and you can find it. And man, I'll tell you, the fish that you can catch out of that pool. If it was summer out and I was doing this during the summer, I wouldn't be here right now. You guys, I'd be fishing that. Big time.
There are a couple of these.
Yeah.
They're, any fishing fisheries, awesome. Finds.
Yeah, well, there's still some good areas where you can get the big goldeye out here. Now this is, I guess you could say my brand new niece-in-law, I guess. She's married to my nephew. That's her second fish in the fly rod. So she was pretty happy with that. Right? And that's not bad, but that's typical size that we have, and that you're looking at about 13 inches on that fish. And we catch them on anything and everything from streamers, nymphs, dry flies, you name it. Doesn't matter what you use, you can catch them. Now, remember what the goldeye looks like. Right? Is that a goldeye? Yes, it is. How do you tell? Anal fin goes before the dorsal fin. So if you remember, goes before a goldeye, you will never ever forget how to tell a goldeye from a mooneye. Now you notice where the anal fin is. It's behind the dorsal. It's not in front. But other than that, don't they look the same? Yeah, they do. Did you have a question? No, the guy behind you.
The eyes.
Yeah, the eyes are a little bit bigger, but quickest way, look at the anal fin. If it's after the dorsal fin, you know you got a mooneye. If it's before the dorsal fin, that's a goldeye. And once again, these fit. I've taken them on streamers, nymphs, dry flies, you name it, wet flies, anything and everything. Grayling. Now you guys have some great grayling water here. We've got a few rivers up north in Manitoba that have grayling. So I won't talk too much about them. But as you can see, once again, they're a fun fish on the fly rod. Buddy of mine sent me these pictures, and like that is just a gorgeous shot of the grayling. Oh, I want to go up and catch some suckers. How many people here fish for suckers?
I mean, that's.
Oh, I do. You can get some good ones. Right? And once again, they take flies like you wouldn't believe. Right? Now, these are some of the smaller ones. There's times when I go out, I do catch bigger suckers. I don't have any good pictures of them. Because when I take my pictures, if you watch me tie tonight, watch my hands, that's steady. So when I take pictures, I shake, blurs the picture. So the big ones, unfortunately, I don't have. But I've taken 5 to 10 pounds of them. Like they're just massive fish. And they're fun, they're a challenge. Now, this young guy was really cool. His dad got a hold of me and wanted me to teach him how to fly fish. He's autistic. And this kid, I've never seen anybody concentrate so much on fishing and doing the drift and doing the cast and everything else than this kid. I mean, that's his first fish on the fly rod. Like, man, it was so awesome. And he was super, it doesn't show, but he was really excited. And his dad was really happy too. Now, Cisco, or what we call tulip, probably the smallest fish we go after. A big one, it's like 10 inches. The 16 is a massive giant. Like, I mean, 16 inches, like catching a 30-pound rainbow, right? You just can't do it. But in March, when you have open water and about 5 or 10 degrees above, and all the lakes are still frozen over, most of the rivers are still frozen over, you can go up to the Fairford River, it never freezes, and you can catch these guys. Or if you're lucky, you get some walleye. Or even if you're lucky, you're still, you hook into a monster pipe over 40 inches. But the conditions have to be right for that. But they are a great little fish, and they will take small flies, small streamers, chironomids, small mayfly nymphs, and you could have a blast fishing these things. Now, the fishing for these is not as fast and furious as some of the other species. Like if you do 10 fish in a day, that's really good. But when it's 10 above zero and you see snow on the ground and you can fish open water, I don't care how many fish, as long as you go fishing. Yep. On a fly. On the red. Was fishing the outside edge of a hole for channel cats. Felt the bump, set the hook. I had no idea what type of fish I had on. Channel cats, you can tell because the line will go like this through the water. Because it got a massive head. Carp, dead straight away run. Freshwater drum, boom, 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 they're head shakers. This fish did none of that. I had no idea what I had. So I'm fighting it. Mike Corrigan is standing about where you are, and the fish come up where this gentleman is sitting, like a Polaris missile. I was speechless. I could see the fly just dangling on the outside of the letter. And you've been out fishing, you had fish that the hook is just barely hanging on. So I'm fighting this thing with kid gloves. Kid up on the bank, starts yelling, that guy has a sturgeon on a fly rod. I had about 30, 40 people watching me fight this, right? Takes off downriver, put pressure on it, bink. I stood there, I looked up. Are you kidding me? Yep. So I go back to fishing for channel cats. Not 5 minutes later, that's what I catch. It was smaller than the first one. First one would have been close to 5 foot long. This one, I'll show you another picture of it. Wonder if I have this picture. I got the picture in my book. This, I think this, if I remember correctly, was about 46 inches.
Oh,
And it gave me a good fight on the fly. So I was pretty lucky. There you go. Now, the coolest thing about this fish, number one, is the way it feels. It feels like sandpaper all the way throughout the whole body. But look at its gills. That goes right up into the head. So when the gills were opening, his whole head moved. I found that to be really cool. Now, without a doubt, if you come to the red, come to Winnipeg, for any reason, bring a 9 or 10 weight fly rod with you. Let me know when you're coming out. If I can't meet you out fishing, I'll get one of my buddies to meet you out fishing. If they can't do it, I will tell you the spots, where to fish, how to fish, and you listen to Stu, and that's what you're gonna catch. And I'm not BSing you guys. There's days when I do 30 to 40 of fish like that on the red. My slow days are 5 to 7 fish. There is nothing like catching a fish like that on a fly rod. Now, you got big fish out here, but I can guarantee you, once you get used to catching 25 to 40 pound channel cats and 30 to 50 pound carp, nothing compares. I love trout fishing, don't get me wrong. But when you can catch fish like this consistently, it is so much fun. Think my hand was shaking bad before? You should see it after a day of fishing. Now, this young chap I used to work with, I got him into fly fishing. Great young fly fisherman. You can see the size of cats that we catch. The coolest thing is you can catch cats on anything. Mayfly nets, poppers, streamers, dry floats, wet floats. It doesn't matter what you use, they'll hit it. If you take a look at one of the pictures in my book, see that cat there? Take a look at this picture. Because I can tell you, there's a size 14 damselfly nymph in its mouth. And I landed this fish. That's a massive fish for a size 14. But this is one fish that you should get super excited about. That's Kelsey's first cat on the fly rod. She listened to me. I love it. If you ever come out fishing with me, I would love it. Same with you, because women listen. Guys, you're idiots. Now, I'm a guy, right? That was taught to me by Lefty Creek. And he was completely and absolutely right that guys don't listen. Women and kids, they listen all the time. Us guys, oh, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I thought that too. Everybody knows who that is. His first fish on the red, 39.5-inch pike. That's his first cat. That was 39 inches. That's a massive fish. Okay. If you ever get to see Phil again, don't say, "Hi, Phil, it's nice to meet you." Say, "Half floater, you're here." He'll know it's me. No, he fell in the hole all by himself. He fell in because on the red, you cannot see the bottom. Clarity is 2 inches. And I'm not kidding. If you can see more than 2 inches, you're on a really clear water day, right? So you cannot walk like this. You walk like that, you're doing an automatic half floater. I don't care who you are, you're doing a half floater. So when I wade the red, and I tell everybody this, wade the way I tell you, because you can feel with your left foot, bring your right foot over. This is called the Red River Shuffle. Right? You do it until you get to the spot that you want to fish. Because if you don't, you're going to do what Phil did, and he dunked himself. $3,000 camera around his neck got soaked. He lost all his pictures. He come up, his eyes were like this. I said, "Are you okay?" He goes, "Yep." And then I started laughing. I couldn't stop. I had tears running down my cheeks. I said, "You're a stupid idiot." And he looks at me. "I just fell in the water." He said, "Yeah, because you didn't listen to me, you stupid idiot." Great. I had another guy from Oregon. Told him the same thing. He waited out perfectly. When he got close to the shore, he turned around, took a step like this, hit a rock, did a flat face in the water. I looked down at him. "You gonna get up?" "Yeah, aren't you gonna help?" "Nope, you didn't listen to me. Get up by yourself." Right? I get like that on the water, because if you don't listen to me, the red could be a really dangerous place to fish. You have to know where the ridges are, you have to know where the holes are. If you don't, you can do a hat floater in less than a second. So it's always wise, get a hold of some, like myself or one of the guys in Manitoba Fly Fishers, and ask them questions. You can go on the Facebook page and ask questions on the red, and somebody will answer you. Now that's my Corrigan again. Caught that one on a Hillbilly Bubba. But what we did, he had a bet with the Hook and Hackle members, because he used to be a member of the Hook and Hackle Club in Calgary. They asked him, have you ever caught catfish on a mouse pattern? He goes, no, but I'll do it. So we staged everything because he wanted a cup of free beer. So I took the picture and he took the picture to the Hook and Hackle guys, but he admitted it after that he didn't catch it on the mouse pattern. But he got 2 free beer and then he told everybody, no, I didn't really catch out on that frog. I've taken him on frog poppers. And that's what you can do. And like, that's 38 inches. That's a heck of a cat. Like, man, can you imagine fighting that on a fly rod? I can. I do it all the time. I feel sorry for you guys because you don't know what it's like yet. Come to what? Hey! No, but it is a lot of fun. Like, man, you will have so much. So, the end. Finally, it's over. So,
Awesome, thank you.